Hello, everybody. I'm Tom LeBlanc, editor of Commercial Integrator. Welcome to another Commercial Integrator 3 Questions interview. Today, I'm lucky to be joined by Francesco Scartozzi. He's Director of Sales at Matrox. Francesco, thanks for being here with us.
Thanks a lot for the opportunity.
All right. Are you ready to answer 3 questions?
Absolutely.
All right. Okay. So let's talk a little bit about social media broadcasting, because the way people are using social media broadcasting has changed. It's evolving quite a bit. You guys have this Matrox Monarch HDX, which I think is aimed at kind of helping people with that trend. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, sure. Well, that's a great question. I mean, let's really start by exploring what social media broadcasting really means and how people use it, breaking it up into 2 distinct parts: the social media and broadcasting. Social media has evolved. It's no longer just something that teenagers use to stay in touch with their friends. Nowadays, we're seeing organizations like houses of worship, corporations, educational institutions really using social media as a way to communicate to their intended audiences. And now let's dive into the broadcast side of social media broadcasting. Live video broadcast has always been a way to distribute content, live content, whether it be sports, sermons, to a very specific audience, right? And traditionally, these audiences had to tune in and really go to a channel and find that live broadcast that would be interesting to them. Now, with the ability to live stream or webcast anything to the internet, we're at the point where we could combine these 2 concepts and make it a lot more convenient for audiences to find and experience the events that they want. So if we could make it so that these live events are already at the social media platforms that the audiences already are using on a daily basis, whether it be Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, then that's where social media broadcast is born and becomes the most effective way to communicate to the audiences. So here at Matrox, we believe that the content creators audience use different platforms and to get their information, whether it be personal or not. And even if they belong to the same organization, so you and I could belong to the same church, but I use Facebook, you use Twitter to get your information. So by embracing this diversity and understanding that social media preferences exist, we designed a unit, the Monarch HDX, that is able to webcast one live event to different platforms simultaneously. So whether it be Facebook or Twitter, Facebook and Twitter, Facebook and YouTube, or Twitter and your own website. And what our customers are saying is that with the Monarch HDX, being able to really broadcast to 2 separate places or where the eyeballs are, they've seen their viewership skyrocket. And once they began really webcasting to social media platforms, that's where the audiences that were already there started to embrace the content more and more.
Well, you mentioned how in the design of the Monarch HDX, you were kind of thinking about that, sort of evolution of social media. What are some elements of the design of the product that make it more suited for that application?
Yeah, that's a good question. So, well, to answer that, I have to go back to really the original conception and the design goals of the Monarch HDX. We believe that, the unit has to be a small, portable, easy to use, affordable device. But in order for it to be used in a live webcasting social media platform, we really needed to hit 3 main design goals: reliability, redundancy, and flexibility. What we mean by reliability is that in live productions, as you know, video signals are not always as clean as they could be, meaning you don't know where that source is coming from. And the most harsh thing that you could do to a signal path is switch. So if a switcher's the input to the encoder, you could have a glitch. And if you don't deal with the glitch properly, you can actually choke the encoder. Not that any encoder would choke. So what we've done is, being conscious of the fact that in live streaming, there are no retakes. So we've built in frame synchronizers on all the inputs of the Monarch HDX so that we can actually deal with the signal disruptions. And this is the kind of reliability that's really expected for any piece of equipment in the broadcast chain. So That's reliability. The second design goal was redundancy. And again, always thinking, how do we make the live webcasting experience as safe as possible? And to address that, really under the hood, what we've done is we put two encoders. So obviously with these two encoders, we could stream the one event to two separate places, of course, but we could set one to stream and one to record. So if you're only wanting to stream to Facebook, for example, with the Monarch HDX, the redundancy that we've built in, you could actually record locally a very high quality copy of the event. So just in case something did go wrong with the broadcast, you always have a safe copy of it, right? Another evidence of redundancy in the design is our automatic bypass. And what we've done there is we basically put measures so that if you lose power to the device, the signal does not die there. So if power is lost, the in goes to the out, you could feed the continuation of the video signal throughout the chain. And lastly, flexibility. In a live event, you never really know what equipment is there that you're going to have to interface to. So the ability to interface to SDI and HDMI sources make the HDX very flexible, whether the audio is coming from the embedded sources or a separate analog source. These three design goals, plus it being portable, affordable, easy to use, really makes it a perfectly suited encoder that could be at the heart of every social media broadcast.
Okay. So let's think a little bit about commercial integrators' audience, which is really, integration firms and consultants, folks who are designing systems for their customers. And, one thing that they might be thinking is, okay, well, are there applications that I can talk to with my customers in which this applies? You brought up, a good example in terms of like church related streaming, but do you have any other examples of kind of like, real world examples of customers using this product as you're kind of describing it?
Sure, absolutely. I mean, Oklahoma State University, OSU, they came to us with a goal. They needed to widen their audience. You see, they had been already webcasting using O-State TV. This is their own website, where they broadcast convocations, pageants for Miss OSU, sporting events, and special guest speakers, right? They were doing this with a homegrown solution where it consisted of a PC, capture card, and some software. That solution really didn't allow them to stream to multiple platforms. And to make matters worse, the setup and maintenance were really causing a lot more headaches than they really wanted. So they needed something easy to use that allowed them to reach as many people as possible. The idea was to go to where the eyeballs were. That's when they found the HDX, and they really loved it from the get-go. Like I said, they're really dependent on the event, and OSU, covering all these wide range of events, really love the flexibility of the HDX being able to interface to SDI and HDMI. And with our Monarch Command Center webpage, they were really able to set it up easily to stream to Facebook and their own website. And once configured, they just go to the event, press the start button, and they're assured that they're broadcasting where they want. So OSU with the HDX really followed through with their commitment to being more accessible. And they accomplished this feat with the same number of employees and with a lot easier setup. So the Monarch HDX effectively allowed them to reach more audiences, and even different audiences, parents of international students, potential donors, alumni, even future students. All of that because of the fact that OSU embraced and saw the real benefit of how social media broadcasting can expand their reach.
All right, that's a good example. All right, so Francesco Scartozzi, Director of Sales for Matrox, thank you so much for taking the time to answer 3 questions for the commercial integrator audience.
Thank you for the opportunity.
All right.